Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out True Off My Chest. Story 1. My dad used to be my best friend, now he's not allowed in my life. PT3. I'll never forget my dad pulled the car over, punched me in the face and told me, "She's your mom now whether you fucking like it or not, and you do not get to talk to her like that." After that I was done. I remember getting out of the car on the side of a major roadway and sprinting off into traffic to get across the street so he couldn't follow me. Almost caused a few car accidents and glad I didn't, also glad for all the physical therapy I had done that let me get to the point I could run again. I remember going to my mom's and staying there for a few days before finally going back to my dad's because at the time I didn't have a car. I was driving a manual and the clutch died on me and it was taking a few weeks for me to get back, so I couldn't afford to stay at my mom's and get to school. I went back to my dad's and was of course grounded. I wasn't allowed to leave the house unless I was going to work or school, so I decided to just work every day. Luckily my boss was such a good guy and I got along with him well. I was a dishwasher at a restaurant that was like 1.5 miles away and I would just walk there. He let me work every day after school, and on weekends when I didn't have drill with my National Guard unit I could work doubles at the restaurant. It took a while, but after a bit things went semi-normal at my dad's. I did what I could to stay under the radar and out of the house until I graduated. Come graduation he acted like he was so proud of me, like nothing was ever wrong, and shortly after I graduated I left for my 8. This is where things unfortunately went from bad to worse. In the showers one day I was sexually assaulted by one of the guys from my barracks. We had kind of a feud going. He annoyed the fuck out of me and I would tell him off anytime he did cause he was just a bitch. But he was also stronger than me, so when most everyone had cleared out, I was getting of the shower and he had came back into the showers for no reason. I figured he forgot something and instead he proceeded to hold M down, and well, I'm not really gonna get into it. But luckily one of my buddies was able to get in there and hear the commotion and stopped him before too much happened. After a couple hours went by, it was a Sunday so we had downtime to study and relax. Me and my buddy went out to see our drill sergeant, who also was the head of the company's sharp division, also to make a formal complaint. Due to the nature of the complaint we went up to the battalion level and made a whole proper report, and then while in there making the report the drill sergeant came back maybe 20 minutes later with the kid who assaulted me along with 5 or 6 of his buddies, and they were all saying that I made it up. It was now like 6-on-2, and even though my buddies and mine story matched up compared to the other guys who were all over the place, it was group mentality that won over and I ended up getting in trouble for making a false report. Even as I'm sitting here typing this up I still get viciously angry, because this man ended up inside me and they refused to even do any kind of physical examination/rape kit on me to prove that nothing happened, they just took his word. So naturally I ended up getting in a lot of trouble, and my buddy who came with me didn't, for some reason I'll never know. After a couple weeks I was just doing what I could to keep my head down and just get through it, so I didn't get in any more trouble even though I did nothing wrong. The drill sergeants now had it out for me. We get to the end of our training, just over a week left, and I get called down to our company commander's office, so me and my battle buddy, the person assigned to stay next to me through all of our training and vice versa, went down to the office. I was instructed by my DS how to properly go into the office and report, and did as instructed once I was told to. What happens next is still kind of a blur to me. I had some serious tunnel vision. I don't really remember what all was said to me. A lot of it I didn't understand, but in short they said I was under investigation for multiple counts of sexual misconduct and I was being kicked out of our company until further notice. They had me pack all of my belongings as fast as humanly possible and marched me to another company where I was being assigned to stay at until said investigation was completed. Now initially, because of my tunnel vision, I didn't know why I was being kicked out. I just remember my company commander telling I was out. When I got to the new company the DS were breaking a bunch of rules to keep me outcast from the company until they got in trouble when a COL walked by and saw me outside by myself at night, and when asked why I explained in full detail, so he brought me inside and chewed them out, reminding them I was not to be alone and so I was allowed to sleep inside again. They got me a bed and kept me in the middle away from everyone still, and kept me with the people who were physically broken waiting to go home. I ended up being partnered with a kid who went to therapy twice a week and was able to get into therapy also while I was down there, and that did a lot to help, but before all that I was the kid they stick with everyone who wanted to go to sick call, but I was able to use that to my advantage. I ended up borrowing a friend's phone to call my dad, because as much as I didn't like him while I was gone, he was my only lifeline, seeing as how he was a decently highly ranked enlisted soldier. I didn't know what I could do. He told me to do what I've been doing and keep my head low, and he would see what he could find out. From then on I would call him every single chance I could for a quick 2-minute conversation just to see what I could be doing better, and still he just told me to keep my head down and do nothing. Story 2. I need a hug. That's it, I just need a hug really bad, nothing sexual, I don't care from whom it is, I just want a tight long hug and to hear everything is going to be okay. I want to be able to lose myself for a second and enjoy a hug and some kind words. My father is in the hospital and I haven't been able to hug or talk to him in a week. He's all I have, I just don't know how to feel and what to do, I just want a hug. Story 3. Mom of 2 under 2 starving is okay. Mom of 2 under 2 literally took me 2 hours just to make some eggs, still not done and not sure when and if I will be able to eat them. Story 4. My son's father and I just got contacted yesterday by someone claiming to be his adopted half-brother. What do I do if he's not interested in them? Fake names used for privacy. I feel adoptees would have good personal experience and thoughts, but I need to vent. My son's father likely has an adopted brother. The apparent brother, Nick, and his soon-to-be wife, Amanda, messaged us saying, "Hi, I'm sorry, I was just messaging you to see if you knew how to get a hold of, I'll call him Nate, but we were able to reach him. We were doing some research in my husband's family tree and found out that Nate is my husband's half-brother, so we went on a Facebook search to see if we could find someone that knew him. I had some mutual friends with you and they pointed me in your direction, but then we found Nate's Facebook, so we were able to connect with him. Sorry for the strange message. I started talking to her to learn where use is coming from, etc. Nate is skeptical and says it sounds fishy. However, her profile is genuine and she has sent several photos including the OG birth certificate and adoption papers with Nate's dad, we'll call him Mark, on it. The OG birth certificate says Nick's birth name was Nick Mark Barnes, his name, bio dad's name as his middle name, and bio mom's last name. Mark signed away his rights right away as a baby, and bio mom, Mackenzie, abandoned Nick as infant, so they have no interest in a relationship with either. Which works because Nate doesn't have a relationship with their dad anyways. She has provided the name of someone in Nate's and in her husband's family who knew who the bio dad was but never said anything until they started searching for his bio family. Nate has no money and neither does his dad, and her profile is 100% real. So there is no financial benefit of this. Heck, they have more money than us combined, they are well off. Nick does resemble Mark in build, posture, and hair. With the names and pictures given, I am pretty much 100% certain this really is his half-brother. They just offered to do an ancestry DNA test because our son is registered already and it would show if they are related. Nate is still skeptical. When I asked him how he'll feel if it's proven 100% true and they are half-brothers, how does he feel and if he would want to meet them? He said no because they have their own life and he doesn't really care. They have 2 little girls, one of which has a genetic problem that started this whole search, and they seem like good people. If they really are our son's uncle and cousins, and I meet them and they seem to be trustworthy, what should I do? Nate doesn't trust anyone and doesn't even like to interact with my family, who are very nice people and help take care of our son all the time. If Nate decides he doesn't care to meet or get to know his half-brother, once verified, should I just go along with it? I'm really torn because especially if this really is family and Nate doesn't care to meet them the same way he has made no effort to meet my family, I want to respect his wishes but at the same time I don't. We are not together because of his issues and refusal to work on them. He smokes constantly instead of learning to cope with his mental issues and calls my family fake for wanting to get to know him and being friendly. My family has been amazing and has encouraged him in many ways and even helped him financially, but he still talks bad about them. He is very standoffish and hardly has a relationship with our son as it is. He's not family-oriented, so I won't be surprised if he maintains this even after DNA evidence. So I'm not interested in meeting his half-brother for wanting to meet my boyfriend's family or something. I'm thinking about my son. If these people are related and they do turn out to be genuinely good people and would love to be in his life, should I follow along with Nate's disinterest if it continues? Added, they have two pretty young daughters the same age range as my son's cousins on my side. So not only would he gain an uncle, but he would gain two adorable young cousins that he could grow up with. They live only 20 minutes away. I'm not sure if it would be best for him to follow his dad's lead or not to follow it if it comes down to that. Thank you for listening this far. And thank you for the vent. Story 5. I told my kids about my wife's infidelity. Backstory: me, 27M, and my wife, 27F, have known each other since high school. We were always friends, but didn't show any interest in each other until senior year, where she asked me to prom. I accepted her invitation and we've been together ever since. We got married in 2015 at age 19, and have two daughters, who are 7 and 5. About a month ago, I found some texts on my wife's phone while she was in the shower, where she had been flirting with one of her female co-workers that I knew pretty well. We had met at work functions from time to time. They sent each other explicit pictures and messages, and while I found no evidence of a meet-up between them, it was heavily implied that they had done stuff together in the past. The messages started about a year ago, so she's been cheating on me for over a year now. I sent screenshots of the conversation to my phone, and confronted her when she got out of the shower and she broke down sobbing, apologizing, saying she never meant to hurt me. I was seeing red at this point and decided to leave before I did something drastic. She texted me non-stop begging me to come home and talk, but I wasn't having any of it, so I stayed at my younger brother's, 24M, place for the night. In the morning I woke up to hundreds of texts and voicemails from my wife, begging to come home. Eventually I did come home, but only because she had to work, and there was no one else to watch my daughters. I told her to be gone by the time I got there, as I didn't want to speak to her, and when I got home, I sat my daughters down and told them that I was going to be divorcing their mother. They didn't understand what that was, so I had to explain it to them, and my heart shattered while I was telling them. My 5-year-old started crying, and my 7-year-old started begging me not to, and started asking me why I was doing this. So I showed them the pictures I took, excluding the ones with pictures, and they started crying even harder. I assured them that their mommy still loves them, but she hurt me very badly, and I can't be with her anymore. I also told them that I would still see them, and I would do everything I could to make sure of that. I texted my wife, telling her I wanted a divorce, and she needs to pack her things when she gets home. She fought it at first and begged me not to kick her out, but I wasn't in the mood for her bullshit. When she got home, my kids started crying and asking her why she did what she did, and she started screaming at me, telling me that I had no right to tell our kids, and that this matter was between us. I told her that since we're getting a divorce, they deserve to know why. She left in a hurry and took the kids with her. As far as I know, she's at her parents' house. My lawyer is in the process of getting the divorce paperwork in order, and I'm ready to fight for the right to see my kids. But they hate my wife right now, and refuse to speak to her, only to their grandparents, who have also stopped acknowledging my wife after they learned what she did. I feel I didn't overreacted, but my mind has been racking ever since. If anyone has any advice on what to do, please let me know. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.